I like your coffee.
Yeah, I know. I don't want to slurp it. Like
How do you say coffee?
coffee.
Good. You don't say coffee like New York.
No, no, no coffee.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to another edition, episode number 55 of the Lab Epstein Hitting Pod. I hope everybody had a great weekend. And if you don't really know, the NHL playoffs have started. Here we are doing this on a Monday or whatever day you're listening. And I just want to, a couple of months ago, for those new viewers and listeners on YouTube, we did a thing. I did a thing. It was my moniker. Every opening, I would always do Champa Bay because I live in Champa Bay. I live in Tampa Bay. But I kind of gave it up for a little while there. But I might have to bring it back. And I'll tell you why. Tom Brady this week said he's going to play till he's 50. So we've got like 6 more years of Tom Brady in Tampa Bay. The Rays won in walk-off fashion on Friday night. They beat the whatchamacallits. And the Tampa Bay Lightning are back in the postseason defending their Stanley Cup crown. So here we are, Tampa Bay.
If only you had basketball.
Live in living color, we do. The Toronto Raptors. Boom. That's another mic. That's 2 weeks in a row that I've mic dropped on you.
I don't know what that means. The Toronto Raptors are in Tampa Bay. I'm not a big NBA.
They were playing in because Toronto has shut their entire country off to the rest of the world.
Right.
They are now playing at the Amalie Arena. I live 5 minutes away. They played their entire season there at the Amalie Arena in Tampa. Just like the Blue Jays are playing in Dunedin, Florida. Florida opens up to everybody. It's a great state. We've got beautiful weather. You know, if you like today, you know, beautiful out. You know, if you want to go shoot some hoops, you know what I'm saying? You can go out and do that, or you can go out and walk. We've got a beautiful governor. We've got freedoms. We've got Disney. We've got everything, baby.
No masks.
No masks.
How did that happen? It was like yesterday, or no? I'm sorry. What is this? Monday? So Friday.
Right.
The CDC was like, "Yeah, you're good. If you want to wear one, that's fine."
Right. Yeah. The pandemic's over.
Yeah.
It's funny what a bad jobs report can do to the entire virus. It's funny how that works, isn't it?
Mission virus complete.
Over. Virus over. Done. COVID.
Yeah. I mean, if you want to wear a mask, it's okay.
Then, yeah, you can wear it. If you want to wear a mask, wear
it. But we're not going to.
I'm not wearing it. Because you know why? Because my face will get half tan and then half white. I need to be tan and take advantage of it.
It only works in the cold weather when the sun's not out, right?
My name is Jim, coming to you from Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay. The Lightning are gonna win the Stanley Cup again. And you know why every team wins down here in Florida? Do people understand this? It's because I live here. Okay. If I didn't live here, I bring good karma and good juju. If I didn't live here, they wouldn't be winning.
People are gonna relocate you in no time.
If I lived in where you are in Denver, the Avalanche would win the Stanley Cup. The Rockies would be in first place. The Nuggets would probably be in the middle ground, but whatever, not a big deal. And the Broncos would.
But the Nuggets are the only good team.
My name is Jim. Joining me, my friend, co-host, professional evaluator, former coach, successful business owner, and well, he didn't do his hair today, so that's why he's wearing a hat. But he's live and in living color. He's the people's champ, Jake Epstein, and he knows to tell people when to know their role and shut their mouth. And he knows how to make an effing adjustment.
Definitely knows how to make adjustments.
My earpiece keeps falling out on me today. We're off to a roaring start on this show. Hey, Friday night I was watching 2 college baseball games. Number one, Kumar Rocker was pitching for Vanderbilt on Friday night against Ole Miss, and Ole Miss really came out swinging. And I got to be honest, you and I have talked about Kumar Rocker on this show before. I think the debate is over. He is no longer in debate with Jack Leiter if he's going to go 1-1. My stock for him has really dropped. I saw it on Friday night. Velocity was in the low 90s, throwing a lot of breaking balls, as you astutely pointed out. And he just wasn't snapping them off. They were flat.
And he has a good career. Yeah, he's got a good.
I'm starting to lose. Now, I'm not saying he's not a top pitcher in the draft, but I'm really starting to lose faith in Kumar Rocker.
Yeah, maybe he's tired. I don't know what it is, but maybe he needs a new pitching philosophy or a new pitching plan, you know, of attacking versus, you know, just trying to finesse. Like, you know, he's built like a linebacker, man. Like,
Yeah.
don't finesse. Like linebackers don't finesse when they go in for a tackle. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I do want to make a public service announcement because I've been watching a lot of playoff softball.
Yes.
The SEC tournament, the Big 12 tournament, the ACC tournament softball, following some of my players, which has been really fun. But what I've noticed, throwing and catching, this game goes back to throwing and catching. And it's funny because I was just coaching, helping coach, my 10-year-old's team, right? And that was the only thing I stressed all year.
Mm-hmm.
Throw and we catch. If you make a bad throw when you're warming up, you run and go get it. Like, it's not, somebody else will get the ball for me. Like, throw and catch. You're making every throw to your mark. And they're not great at it, but at least we're making that progress. And then I don't know how many runs that I've seen given up, how many games have been lost. 3 or 4 games out of probably 6 or 7 games were lost with a bad throw or a ball that wasn't caught and tagged properly or a ball fielded off the wall. It's really an amazing part of the game that we always talk about hitting because hitting's fun and hitting's where we score runs. But I'll tell you what, you can't out-hit a bad defense. You can't out-hit bad throws. And I saw it yesterday or 2 days ago, 3 days ago. I don't know what day this is airing, but it was Oklahoma State versus Texas. Mm-hmm. And they lost it was like the 9th inning. They were in extra innings. There was a pitch the catcher dropped, a drop third strike, not a ball in the dirt, just I don't know, it may have been a drop ball or something that moved it away. It dropped. It didn't move very far away from her. She throws it down the right field line. 2-run score, game over. So instead of the third out of or 1-1 scored, it was tied. Instead of the third out and they flip over to the top of the 10th or whatever, the run scores on a third strike. It's just the way the game is. So kids out there, play catch with a purpose every time.
Yeah. We've talked about that on this program before too. Get good at throwing, hitting your target in the chest, and get good at catching. 2 things that are oftentimes overlooked. Everybody jumps right into the cage, but they forget to actually learn how to have a catch.
Yeah, because you're not going to play. You drop balls. Like you're at the college game, if you're a catcher and you drop a ball, then you're not going to play.
Mm-hmm.
If you give away, so if you don't block balls, you're not going to play.
Yeah.
And it has to be every player on the field.
Yeah.
And I understand pressure's pressure, and we're getting to the postseason. We're going to see a lot more errors, but if you can prepare yourself for that and you never have to think about it, you'll be just fine.
Yeah, isn't that one of the reasons, though, that we get good at having a catch is because you don't make those mistakes in the postseason. Those mistakes you should have made earlier in the year.
That's right. Yeah, that's why there's spring training.
Today is the 7-year anniversary. We're recording this on a Saturday, by the way, everybody.
Now we're truthful.
Yeah, we had. Well, you kind of pulled the veil back a little bit there a couple of statements ago. So but today's the 7-year anniversary of when Rougned Odor punched Jose Bautista square in the jaw. You remember that?
I do remember that.
I mean, Rougned really got one good in there.
Yeah.
There must have been some really bad blood between those two.
It was
just a quick jab too. It was like, bow,
Yeah. That was no joke. That was a no joke punch.
Yeah. 7-year anniversary today. That's going to live in infamy, by the way, that punch from Rougned Odor. Friday night, I was watching also the Mizzou and Mississippi State. Mississippi State baseball is this year is pretty good, by the way. They're kind of under the radar, sneaky good.
Yeah, they're like 3rd in the country.
Yeah. Nobody's talking about them.
Nobody is
That's what I'm saying.
them,
Nobody's talking about them. They've got good pitching, good hitting, good plate appearances. Well, they're playing Mizzou. Mizzou's not very good this year.
No.
Your former alma mater there. And they
did beat them last night, though. They beat
did.
them on Friday. They beat them
on Friday. It was a good game. They were tied at 6, going into the 7th. Mizzou's not very good. They can't hit. They don't have good plate appearances. They throw a lot of junk, and they can't get their breaking ball over. They can't locate or spot the breaking ball. What the hell's wrong with Mizzou? They should be better.
Yeah, I don't know. It's they're at a disadvantage. Well, you really put me on the spot here, Jim.
I'm sorry,
but they're at a disadvantage in that conference. So there's no doubt about it. They're a Big Ten recruiting school.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're if they were in the Big Ten, they'd win it every year. If they were in the Big 12, they would be one of the top two teams, probably. But they're in the SEC, and they have facilities of the Big East Conference.
Mm-hmm.
Their facilities are not great. It's very hard to recruit. They don't put a lot of money into the program, the administration.
Mm-hmm.
And because of that, you have to be way better than everyone else. You have to prepare way better than everyone else. And I don't know. I don't know. The pitching has always been really good there. They had a guy last night. I haven't been watching him all that much.
Mm-hmm.
But the guy that threw last night at the end of the game was electric. And I don't understand why he hasn't been electric. He was 94 and had some of the most amazing movement I've ever seen.
Yeah.
He was the guy that threw at the end of the game. Tall kid. Maybe he's been hurt. I don't know, because they said his ERA was like 7 or maybe it wasn't that high. But I was like, how is this guy not? I mean, this stuff is amazing. So I think it's how it must be how it prepares. It must be the hitters and the work they're putting in, and maybe a philosophy. Could be. I was excited to see yesterday the catcher actually giving signs.
Mm-hmm.
In the game, because I haven't watched them in a few weeks, because it's been the whole wristband. The pitcher's looking at the wristband, the catcher's looking at the wristband, and the catcher just sits there. He doesn't give a sign. They do that in softball. It's not like it's not being done, but it really is weird for baseball. So it was good to actually see the catcher give the pitcher a sign so they can kind of work in communication. I think sometimes when you do things that are off the mark that kids haven't done their whole life,
Mm-hmm.
it all of a sudden it's different. They're standing on the mound in front of 7,000 or 8,000 people, and they're looking for a sign from a coach, the pitcher, and then they just go into their windup.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they've played 20 years, well, probably not that long, maybe 15, 16 years of their life, not doing that, looking at the catcher, internalizing what he said, going into your windup and throwing. So I think there's things like that. I don't know. I'm not there.
Yeah.
So they should be better.
Well,
they should be better, but the administration needs to make an effort.
Yeah.
They need to make an effort. Here's a sad story.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you want to hear a sad story?
Well, I was being positive today, but we can do a sad.
You were being positive. You said how bad they were. So here's a sad story. You have Johnny Hyde.
33. You're pretty bad.
You got. Just the numbers don't lie.
I'm not being negative. I'm being just truthful.
It's truthful. So Johnny Simmons Field, Taylor Stadium, whatever you want to call it, where they play.
Yeah.
Okay, so they have a couple years. When was I there? 19. So in 2017, they had to raise the money. They got some turf, right? Because the weather stinks, and the turf is great. But it was like $750,000 to turf the whole field. Well, they only had $500,000. Okay, 500,000. Didn't have 750.
$500,000.
It's not a lot of money when it comes to. I mean, a charter costs like $45,000 to charter a plane. Okay, so this isn't a lot of money for a stadium. So
whoa! It's a ballpark.
For a ballpark, yeah. Why do they call it Taylor's? It depends who. Okay, for a ballpark, it is a ballpark, and so they turf just the infield.
Yeah.
Right? And then years go by, and they're trying to. So now it costs another $500,000 instead of $250,000 to do the outfield. They haven't done it yet in 3 years, so they still have a grass outfield and a turf infield. Yeah. Now, right behind center field, you will notice there's the MATSE, which is the Missouri Athletic Training Center, MATSE, which is, where you eat and they have the big gym and it's beautiful, right? And the study halls and all that. Well, and then there's the football practice field. So right behind the left field fence, it's been this way since I played there in the late 90s, there's like 3 or 4 football fields. So what did they do? The year I was coaching, 2019, 2 years after the turf debacle, they rip up all the beautiful grass there and put in turf for football.
Wow.
Match their football stadium.
That is
like
sad.
Probably 5 times the amount of turf we would need to turf our outfield. And they did it during the season. We had to look at it every day. So that is an administration that doesn't care about baseball.
Well, how much money, I'm not saying that you should know this, but how much money do they, I'm guessing because SEC, good conference, you get a team in there on a weekend series, you're bringing some good revenue.
You're in the SEC, you get profit sharing revenue. You get TV revenue. You get SEC network revenue. You get a ton of money.
Exactly. Yeah.
whether you get now baseball doesn't. We don't get any fans. Why? Because it's not a great venue to watch a game.
Okay.
Like it's
That
not
was my
Mississippi State.
question.
It's not fun. Like
Yeah.
it's cold.
Mhm.
Like of every SEC school, it's cold the first month and a half of the season. The girls aren't going to come out, in tank tops, and the guys aren't going to come out in shorts. You're bundled up in sweatshirts and sweats, so you're not going to get the student body out there until like May. But maybe if you had an overhang with heaters,
right.
You know what I mean? Like maybe if you made it fun or you made it enjoyable. So they need $50 million. They need $50 million, $50 million to build a brand new stadium and training center on property. And they will be able to compete. That's what everybody else has. I mean, you go with $25 million. I'm fine with $25 million. At least you build a new stadium. But $50 million, now you get a new stadium, you get a new indoor pitching center, you get a new indoor hitting center. You have players that want to spend time there. They don't have to go back and forth to it. It's what it needs if they want to compete. Why? Because everybody else has $100 million stadium. Right. Florida, Mississippi State, Arkansas, Texas A&M.
When you said $50 million there, I just thought, $50 million? What am I, Chelsea Clinton? You know what movie that's from?
No.
Chris Tucker in Rush Hour. When he's on the phone, for those who've seen the Rush Hour series, when he's on the phone with the
underrated,
the fucking whatever. Okay, well, I'm sorry, Mizzou. We just kind of ripped you apart. I did.
Wah, wah. However, softball's doing fantastic, and shout out to Cassidy Shomo, who's been on TV during the SEC tournament making diving plays. Mizzou softball's really fun to watch right now.
Yeah,
I was hoping. I mean, they should have beaten. Who would they play? Florida. Oh, throwing and catching. That was one of the games yesterday. They come back. They're losing 5-2 in the last inning, or 5-3. They score 3 or 4 runs to go up by 1 run. 2-out home run. 2-out, 3-run home run puts them ahead. They go out. The pitcher walks the first person, hits the second person. They finally grind it out. Tie ball game, ground ball to shortstop, bobbled. Beats it by a quarter of a step. Game over. Ups and downs. But Mizzou softball has a new stadium.
Right.
As of about 5 years ago. 6 years.
I wonder how much they spent on it.
Not a huge number, but it really turned out nice.
Yeah.
It was probably in the 10 million. 8 to 10. But it's nice. It's right on campus.
I like how your mood of talking about the baseball went just straight up when you were talking about softball there, Mizzou softball. It was great.
Well, I mean, they're winning.
Yeah,
they're fun to watch. Like that team has chemistry, and they have so much fun, and they hit bombs once in a while. They actually set their school home run record. Shout out to sorry, we just gotta keep going. Bailey Hemphill, she's got one more game.
I knew you were gonna say Bailey because I saw a tweet from you earlier.
Oh my God, she hit 3 home runs the last 2 games in the SEC tournament. One, they're down by 1 run. She hits a 2-run home run in the last inning in the top of the set. They were the visiting team, or maybe it was the bottom of the 6th. Yeah, they were wearing gray yesterday as the home team. Very confused. It's a very light gray, but it's still gray nonetheless. Anyway, she's just been.
Is she eligible for the MLB draft? I mean, maybe she can sort of help the strikeouts, number drop.
1 strikeout in the SEC.
That's all she's
struck out. 1 strikeout in the SEC play against some of the best pitchers in the country. That's the swing plane right. We teach.
She's doing something right.
And her OPS is like 1.5.
Maybe she needs to work in pro ball. I think she needs to work in pro ball. I think she would be a good fit in pro ball. She'd kind of help. If she would almost be an extension of the Epstein hitting system.
She's a very nice person.
She is very nice Southerner. I'm guessing. I don't know her, but
but no accent. She's from Lafayette, Louisiana, and just I don't know, just a very nice, funny, dry, humorous person. Yeah. But I think she's going into. She already has her degree. She's working on her master's early childhood development or something like that. She's gonna work with kids.
By the way, I want to make a point. I made a mistake last week. I have to atone for. I have to atone for my mistake. That was a real zinger there. Shocker. He did it in your drink as you're drinking
That's
your
right.
coffee.
Right, with the bill down.
I made a mistake last week going to atone for it. Ted DiBiase is not dead. He is
The
alive and
million
well.
dollar man.
$1 million man is alive and well. Now, if he wants to be on the ticket in 2024 with Dwayne The Rock Johnson, he can still do that, but he is alive and well. He works with the WWE in Orlando, Florida at their training complex. I did all this research because I found out he wasn't dead. And he works with their brand NXT, whatever it's called. I don't watch.
That was a guy. I thought NXT was a wrestler.
Right. Yeah. So anyway, he works, he's like a coach there. So he's still alive and he's live and kicking, the $1 million
He have
man.
a guy. Didn't he have a guy that walked with him that held the briefcase?
Probably that. I think that point in wrestling was before my time. I mean, you're like more of the Hulk Hogan era.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I'm the Stone Cold, The Rock, the Undertaker.
I was moving out. The Undertaker, that was about when I was done.
The guy who always did the fire, when he would drop his arms and then the fire would come up. That guy, I forget his name.
Yeah,
that was my era. And then I stopped watching it. So then I met girls. So. Don't forget
basement.
Don't forget to subscribe to our podcast, Apple, Google, Spotify, YouTube, our YouTube page, the Lab Epstein Hitting Podcast, YouTube page for new episodes and clips from previous episodes. Mike Trout's launch angle has been the topic this week of many shows and many baseball pundits, how his launch angle ep is now low. It's lower than it's ever been in his entire career. And he's having one of the best years of his career. And I kind of want to get your comments on that, what you think about his launch angle dropping to where it is. I don't see much of a difference in his swing plane or his swing in general. But again, numbers don't lie, as we've talked about. He's having the best year of his career. I mean, you could say that pretty much every year, though, about him, can't you? He's having the best year of his career again. I mean, he's the best. He's my generation's Mickey Mantle, in my opinion.
Yeah.
His launch angle, I think it's right at 10.9. So a couple of questions here. First, what does that launch angle tell you about his swing plane, and what do you think about him having the best season of his career with the lowest launch angle of his career?
I don't know. I'm not qualified for this question.
Yeah. That's what, yeah.
Let me get.
All right, well, we can move on. Where's our intern? Maybe our intern is more qualified for the question.
It's a wonderful question, Jim, and
Yes.
I'm glad you posed it because I don't know if it has anything to do with anything, quite honestly, because it encompasses every ball that you've hit.
Yeah.
It encompasses a pop-up and it encompasses a ground ball. So for me, it probably means his outs are more on the ground this year. It doesn't mean that his line drive angle is like, I wish we could, and we probably could if we were better at math. But if you could take his balls in play that are 10 degrees, which would be, almost maybe 8 degrees would be a ground ball, but not a chopper, right? Not like a missed ground ball, hard hit ground ball. So 8 degrees to like 40. And if you could take that number and see what his launch angle averages between those 2 points, would it be any different than it has the last 5 years of his career? I don't know. I don't see any difference in his swing.
Yeah, right.
I don't see any difference in his swing visually. Maybe in his approach. Maybe he's trying to stay on top of balls in the approach. So now all of a sudden the high pitches, and why wouldn't you? I mean, that's what people are throwing, high pitches. We talked about Chris Bryant?
Yes.
We talked about Chris Bryant? Yeah. So maybe Trout's done the same thing. I got to stay on top of the high pitch, and that's what he's working on in batting practice. That's what he's working on in the cage. Maybe he sets up a hack and at 90 miles an hour at the top of the zone, he's trying. So he's made that adjustment. But I don't think if you take his hits, I guess we could just do it that way. When he gets on base, singles to home runs, now what is his average launch angle versus all? Because I posted that thing that the MLB.com did. I'm trying to think where I grabbed it, but it was the year that Yelich and Bellinger were both going for the MVP. Remember that year? Maybe
2018, yeah.
Was it 18? Yeah. And their average was the same. Their home runs were the same. Their RBIs were the same, blah, blah, blah. But their average launch angle, like Yelich was like 8 degrees and Betts was like, I don't know, 14 or something like that. So, or 15 or something. I don't know what it was. And it's like, that's because Betts misses in the air and Yelich just misses in the ground, but everything in between still matches up. Like there's more than one way to skin the cat. So I don't know. Yeah. I don't know. I guess I could call Mike because we're real good friends. Let me text him.
Yeah. Right. Well, I was thinking
Fish.
I was thinking our intern, the assistant.
Hey, Fish, what do you think about? No, I don't know Mike Trout. I used to have a good friend in the Angels organization I could ask, but he isn't there anymore with the new regime. So I don't know what he's thinking. I think it's probably an approach thing, but it's down top of balls.
So it's really not a huge deal. It's more of just kind of.
I don't see a swing change. I mean, if
there's not much context to it. So what people are talking about, they're leaving out a lot of context.
They're just taking, and what if we included, everybody talks about, whatever balls, launch angle stuff. What if we took like swings and misses? What if that counted for something? Or foul balls?
Right.
I mean, how many guys that dump their barrel miss pitches? Right? They just miss them. They swing under them because they're not on plane very long. How do we get that into the equation without saying, they strike out 37% of the time, So the whole average launch angle, I mean, I get it. It's a number. Oh, this guy hits more balls in the air than he hits balls in the ground, right? If he's slow, great. I'm glad he does that. But honestly, I, as a coach, evaluator, model American, what else do you call me? The people's champ.
I call you a model citizen, the people's champ, live and in living color. Successful business owner, my former coach, friend, and co-host.
Yeah, I wouldn't. I'm not looking at like overall launch angle percentage. I really don't care about that. I would get into how are they creating that launch angle, because a guy that swings up a lot is also going to hit a lot of toppers.
Yeah.
Where a guy that swings down but is early is going to hit the ball in the air more. A guy that swings up and is early is going to hit the ball on the ground.
Yeah.
So if a guy swings down and is late, it's going to hit a lot of ground balls. So you have to take that player's natural move, their natural swing plane. Does it match up with where they like to make contact? Because the way we see is very different. Everybody sees. Some people, if this eye is a little bit stronger with depth perception than this eye, they might see the ball further forward by 4 inches. Where another player, if their eyes work differently, they might see the ball 4 inches deeper. Yeah. So if you're usually a late guy, like Votto, right? I'm always late. Like I don't have a problem letting the ball get to me. I don't have a problem letting the ball. Then that's a guy that probably wants to get on plane earlier.
Yeah.
But if you're a guy that's consistently early, that's the last thing you want to do. If you're consistently a guy that wants to hit the ball out in front, you got to make sure that you're flatter and you have to have more of a downswing to match that. So your eyes have to match what your brain does, and then your swing plane also has to match that. Otherwise, you're working uphill.
Yeah. I wonder how Mike Trout would do against Corbin Burnes right now. You're wearing your Brewers hat today, so I have to bring up Corbin Burnes and his impressive streak and what he's doing. Yeah, pretty good indeed. How would you, if you're a hitter, how would you approach Corbin Burnes? I know what I would do, but I'm also unqualified. But I know what I would do. I would just be as aggressive as possible because he's obviously pounding the strike zone if he hasn't walked anybody.
I'd probably fake an injury. I always feel that's a good. I woke up. I got a stiff neck today. Like,
right.
Who's pitching?
Right.
Okay. I don't know if the trainers are going to get me ready for this.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think with anyone that pounds the strike zone, anyone that can put you away, my idea would be to get them early in the count.
Yeah. That's what I was thinking.
If I'm a middle of the order kind of guy, you know, or if I'm not, maybe I push bunt something, just to get, not me personally, because it takes me 2 or 3 days to get to the base, but maybe you got to get scrappy. You got to find ways to score runs off him.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're absolutely right. Guys that can put you away, guys that have good stuff, and guys that attack the strike zone early, you have to attack them early. You got to be ready to hit on pitch one.
Yeah, exactly. You really can't let anything go by. You can't let a fastball that you could really smash go by and take. Yeah. You have to be prepared. Because he's not going to miss more than once or twice a game to you. Yeah. So you got to be ready for that one time. Yeah. What's your take on that, on him, and what is he doing so well? Is it simply pounding the strike zone, or is he just have something figured out, the magic pixie dust that we don't have? I don't know. I mean, he could have
maybe his balls tunnel really difficult,
Yeah.
like his fastball and his breaking balls stay in line for a long time.
Yeah.
Maybe it's something like that. Maybe he hides the ball. Obviously I've never hit off him or looked at video from the batter's box to see if all of a sudden that ball comes out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Because, even if a guy is throwing 94, but that you don't see that ball till the last second, it feels so much faster.
Yeah.
So it could be that, and it could be maybe his spin rate is a little bit different than everyone else's. So the perceived finished positioning of that ball is different. Like he runs it. So maybe it's this much higher than everyone else that throws a fastball at the belt.
Yeah.
Like you see it, oh, that's at the belt, but then it finishes this much higher and we foul straight back.
Yeah.
It could be something as simple as that, because that's what scouts are looking for and pitching coaches are looking for. It's not how much they spin, is that spin different?
Right.
Is it different if 75 or 80% of Major League Major League pitchers that throw a ball 92 miles an hour, like it always spins at whatever, 2,800. But all of a sudden this guy spins it at, 3,000 RPMs more or less. Like either, I don't know if that's even possible, but why is it different? Or his axis is totally different than the axis of the other guys throwing that way. It just makes him different. So all of a sudden, 3 out of 4 games, you see, oh, there's that 94. It goes to the same spot. And then all of a sudden there's this other guy, oh, there's 94, and it's just a little bit different, and you foul it off instead of squaring it up. That's what pitching coaches are looking for. Now, I honestly believe substance has a lot to do with spin rates, right? I mean, as spin rates become really cool for pitchers, breaking balls, all I'm trying to do is spin it differently to be different than everyone else. What are there's substance all over. Fingers, hats, balls.
Yeah.
I don't care if it's rosin or not. It's rosin and something else.
Yeah. What you just said there, by the way, and sometimes on this show we come off as anti-analytics and we're not. But the analytics that you just mentioned with scouts and pitching coaches there, with the axis and with the spin rate, that is gold for scouts. That is gold for pitching coaches. That's where you love analytics. That is exactly what baseball evaluators like in pitching analytics. And there's some hitting analytics that they like as well. But that's what you look for to try to find that difference in that player. And you try to blend the two. And a lot of scouts have learned to do that. A lot of old school scouts, by the way, who are former players at the collegiate and professional level, have learned to do that from the people I've talked to.
Yeah. And if I could find a trustable device, because the TrackMan's really good for the spin, and the Rapsodo is pretty good too. But if I could find a very dependable, easy to use spin rate monitor for hitting, you can really geek out with it. But I could also, I have to justify it, what I see. So if the bat's doing this and the hands are doing this, the ball's going to do this, right? And the spin rate on the ball will be like this. But if you make this change with your bat, now all of a sudden we can fix your spin rate on the balls you hit, and they'll travel farther. Well, everybody thinks, oh, that's great, Jake. Like that makes sense. But if like I had a little computer that said, okay, do this, and then watch this, and then it's like, holy crap, that's black and white. They don't just have to trust you. Or you don't have to be on a field. Like on a field, you can see it.
Right.
You can see the way the ball kind of reacts. It's like golfers used to say it all the time. The ball doesn't lie.
Yeah.
The ball doesn't, how you hit the ball doesn't lie. If it spins this way, it spins that way. Or if it balloons, it's not lying. And that's true. And so you have to be a little bit smarter to do that, because we don't have quite that technology that's as accurate and dependable.
I was watching the Red Sox and the Angels, Red Sox Athletics the other night. And the Red Sox TV guys brought up the possibility of the postseason expanding, maybe in the next CBA. Am I the only one who is against the postseason expanding and getting more teams into the postseason? I'm not for it. I think it dilutes the playoffs. The first round of hockey, I love the NHL playoffs. A lot of people don't like it, though, because it dilutes the postseason. There's too many teams in it. I like the way it is right now. 2 wild cards and the division winners. I mean, am I the only one? Can we stop with this expand the postseason nonsense, please? I don't like it. Stop diluting the postseason. You're diluting your product at the same time.
They play too many games. They play too many games anyway.
God,
man, you got to throw another series in there. It's
right.
It's long. It's too long. And I honestly think the 7 games might be too long.
Yeah.
5 games is pretty good. That's a series. 7-game series is so long,
I know.
So I don't know. I mean, I guess they're just trying to get teams that are on the. I don't know. I think Major League Baseball is constantly trying to change things, and it's like,
Yeah.
I mean, what the NFL? They added a 17th week right? Is that this year? Yes, they got
Yeah.
17 weeks this year.
Yeah.
Did they take
Which I
one of
don't
the
like.
preseason games?
I think they did. I don't like that though. I like the 16-game schedule.
I like 16. It's a nice even number.
Right. Yeah. 17 for me.
You can divide it by 4. It's a good number. 17's weird, but I also don't like preseason football. Nobody watches it. Nobody cares about it.
Yeah.
Nobody plays. The starters play 10 snaps.
But I just like the structure.
Maybe go to 8.
I don't know. I like 18 games is way too many. They're going to get hurt. Not as more than they do now.
Yeah, I know. They do get hurt.
I just like the structure of things. I don't like too much change. I can't wait till they move the mound back in a few years, and then I'm going to go nuts and pull my hair out. I don't like it. I just don't like the talk of postseason expanding. I guess that's what annoyed me this week. There's always one thing that annoys me that I have to express to everybody at least once a week.
Good. It's not me, so that's good.
Yeah. Don't forget to email us too your questions if you have any, jimbopodcast21@gmail.com, or you can reach out to us on Instagram and Twitter. I keep forgetting. You know what? It's too late to do it now because we're doing the show, but I keep forgetting. Poor AD. He sent me a message on Instagram, and I was going to put his question on my prep sheet today, and I forgot for like the third straight week. I keep forgetting to check my Instagram inbox. So AD, if you're listening, I hope you still are. We're not ignoring you. We will get to your question. I remember it was a great question. We will get to it next week. I promise. I promise you we will get to the question next week. It's on me. I just keep forgetting to check my Instagram inbox at Jim Tara and at Epstein Hitting. But you know what? If you want to email us your questions to jimbopodcast21@gmail.com. We'll get to our question later. We'll get into our topic right now, though. Our main topic today, first 100 plate appearances. And the reason that this is a topic is because I had a guy, my first manager ever in professional baseball. His name is Stan Clyburn. He's still managing. He's a great guy. Your dad probably knows him. He's been in baseball for like 85 years. Not that long. I'm aging him. He doesn't listen to this anyway. He doesn't even know what a computer is. Great guy, though. His brother, Stu Clyburn, was in the Minnesota pitching coach in the Minnesota Twins organization for a very long time. And Stan brought up to me once, he said that it is very important for a hitter to establish themselves in their first 100 plate appearances. Not 50, not 30, it's first 100. After that, after the 100, you kind of know who you are, at least in that season. So I'm going to pose this question to you. Kind of, again, I'm putting you on the spot a lot today, but I'm going to put you on the spot again. What are your absolutes, if any, your absolutes in the first 100 plate appearances of a season?
I don't like the question.
Okay, next question.
What's the next topic? So it's a good question. You may not get 100 at bats.
Mm-hmm.
If you're a dude, if you're a first rounder, second rounder, third rounder, fourth rounder, fifth rounder, you got tools, you're going to get 100 at bats. Yeah. But what about the 80% of everyone else in the minor league organization? They might not get 100 at bats. Mm-hmm. So those guys got to come out of the gates ripping and roaring and ready to go. Mm-hmm. Like, they got to be prepared. They got to be aggressive. They got to get hits their first 20 at bats. Mm-hmm. Or, I mean, a college season, we could condense that to 50 at bats for a college season, right? Mm-hmm. So in the first 50, like, sometimes they get one series, or 2 series. So it depends. I guess it depends on who we're talking about. If we're talking about, a prospect, we'll put it that way, then your first 100 at bats, I want to get my timing. Okay. Like, I probably want to see more pitches my first 10 at bats for that season, because I'm setting up for 100, right? So I want to see pitches. I want to focus on my rhythm. I'm probably going to take the first pitch off a new pitcher every single time, my first, 10 to 20 plate appearances, just to kind of get a feel and rhythm of the game and the season. Mm-hmm. And then I will increase my aggression. Mm-hmm. Okay? As I learn from, okay, my timing feels pretty good. This is how they're throwing me. I can start to figure out a plan based on, what I'm doing right and what I'm doing wrong. If I'm a freshman, or a 20th rounder coming in, I got to get as many live at bats as I can in spring training or the off season, because if I do get a start, it probably isn't going to be the first game. It might be the second game of the year.
Yeah.
I got to be ready to perform. I got to be overly aggressive on the base pass. Like I have to be way better than the guy that's going to get the nod.
Mm-hmm.
And so in that sense, I'm going to be a little bit more aggressive, almost like a pinch hitter mindset when I get in there. Because if I get in there and I find a couple barrels and I drive in a few runs, I might solidify myself into the lineup. But if I go 1 for 10 that series, I'm probably not going to play for a week or two.
Right. And that's at the collegiate level.
That's at the collegiate level, but that could be at the professional level too. Like, I mean, when I started playing, I didn't play. I played every third game.
Right.
Well, shit, I wasn't going to get 100 at bats.
Yeah.
So I better like make the most of my at bats. And all of a sudden I did, and then I started playing every day. Yeah. But I wasn't a guy they were penciling in. Mm-hmm. So you have to kind of know your role, as you put it, right?
And shut your mouth.
You got to know your role. So if you're a guy that, you know, I'm a bonus baby or I'm a prospect, or last season I played all year in A ball and now they moved me up to AA, like I'm moving the right direction. You use your first 100 at bats as, you know, I'm maybe not 100, but I'm using probably my first 100 pitches, my first 25 at bats or so, as I'm preparing for the long haul this season. I'm seeing pitches. I'm probably taking more pitches than I normally would, especially early in a game.
You alluded to it last week, though, that some of it goes back to winter preparation as well, and having that successful first 100 at bats. And we've talked about it many times on the program. What can you do in that winter training to successfully prepare for those first 100 at bats and to get off to prepare to get off to a great start in your season?
And everybody wants to get off to a great start.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, that's just kind of the way it is. Like, I remember the one college season I had where I hit a home run my first game. Mm-hmm. I was like, yeah, so great. Like, okay, we played like Pimp State or somebody terrible, but it didn't matter. It was like, okay, here we go. Now we can relax a little bit. So it's, it depends. Like, if I'm working on my swing and I'm a dude and I'm going to get at bats, then I'm working on my swing.
Yeah.
I'm not necessarily working on a ton of velocity in the off season. I'm maybe doing some tee work. I'm working on plane. I'm probably not trying to juice balls, because why juice balls when you're a dude anyway? Like, you don't need to try juice balls. They're just going to go over the fence, right? You don't have to worry about popping your hip a little bit more, or snapping this and flicking that and whatever. Anyway, so that's what I'm working on. And then when I get to spring training, maybe I'm doing some extra work where somebody's, you know, feeding me velocity out of a machine, throwing 90, 95. So now I'm trying, if I'm a guy that's got to come out of the gates, it might be less of the plane and technique and barrel finding, and more of, I want to see velocity. So when I get in the game, 90 or 95 doesn't seem like 95, because I'm overtraining that. I've been training at 95, so 90 looks like nothing.
Yeah. Yeah.
That would be my adjustment.
Yeah. And I mean, coming out of the gate, hitters always are off to a slower start because there's that adjustment period as well.
Yeah.
So really you cut down the first 100 bats to like 80, because your first 20 at bats are kind of a crapshoot. You don't know what you're going to get, no matter how hard you train in the winter, because there is that adjustment period. And maybe you get off to a great start. That's great. But there's a lot of players out there, I was one included, that never got off to great starts. And it actually ended up hurting me very much so.
Yeah. I mean, there are guys like that year in and year out. So, you know, if you stick around long enough and you're successful, you know, if you're that guy. But that's why there's spring training.
Yeah.
There really isn't a lot of spring training in college, and that's why you see some teams start off really slow, because especially the northern teams, the cold weather teams, because they're doing inter squads indoors. That's tough. And the southern schools are like, they're outside doing inter squads, and they're getting maybe that first, 40 at bats.
Yeah.
At least 20 at bats they're getting out of the way before the season starts.
Yeah.
So we talked about that. Spring training isn't for getting in shape and getting stronger and getting your arm ready like it used to be. Now it's all about timing and seeing pitches.
Right. But if you're trying to win a job too, I just kind of want to play the other side of the coin, then you might have 50 plate appearances in spring training. You better make the most of them.
Come out of the gate swinging.
Right.
Absolutely. Like, your on base percentage in spring training, nobody gives a shit about that. Pitchers are just trying to throw, like, pitchers are just getting loose. You got to come up there and bounce, hit balls off the wall nonstop. And then, like, damn, this dude ain't scared. Even if he's not ready, he's 18, 19 years old. We're going to set him down, but he's ready. We could bring him up halfway through the year, like Kalenic, right? They just brought Kalenic up.
Who?
Jarred Kalenic.
Oh,
Did I say his name wrong?
Yeah, I think it's Jared Kelnick.
It is?
Yeah.
You sure about that?
About 72% sure.
Because I actually just looked him up. It's Kalenic.
Kalenic, that's what I said.
No, you didn't.
Yes, I did. You said like Kalanic or some weird name.
Kalenic. What is it, my Colorado accent? Anyway.
How do you say it? Kalenic? It's not Kalenic.
Kelenic.
Yeah, it's Jared Kelnick.
Really?
Kelenic,
well,
yeah.
What do you just said Kelnick?
That's what it is.
I said Kalenic.
Right, it's not Kalenic, it's not K-L, it's K-E-L. Kalenic.
That's what I said. You said Kelnick.
Right. That's how you say it.
No, that's not how it's spelled.
Well,
anyway, regardless,
sometimes
there was only one other player I had ranked higher on my list. That was the 2018 draft list. There was only one player I had higher than him, or as high. Oh, actually, I had a couple.
Am I allowed to know who's that?
Yeah, the draft's over. India.
You love him. Yeah, he's a good player.
Yeah, he hasn't done well. And then a guy, I don't know how old he is. I don't know.
UF. Mr. UF.
Cassis? Tristan Cat. He was a first baseman, though. I don't know. I liked his swing.
Right.
Tristan Cassis.
Hey, India, I think, homered the other night, didn't he? Went the opposite way.
I feel like he's pretty electric.
He's pretty good.
Yeah.
Jonathan.
But I think whatever Kalenic's real name is.
Yeah.
Is he the first one from that draft class?
No,
get to the big leagues?
No, Jonathan.
Indian was okay.
India, not Indian. You're really messing up. You're really messing up.
I didn't say Indian. You're going to be deaf when you get older.
It's Kelnick, Jared Kelnick.
I don't know.
All
We're gonna have to do.
We have to look at the Mariners' pronunciation.
I'm trying to look how this other guy's done. I haven't looked at my list in a long time.
So you got India.
I said Tristan Cassis.
Right. But you have India and Kalenic.
Whatever his name is. And then this guy, now this was swing only. I never saw him play defense or anything else. But
okay.
Let's see what this guy.
By the way, have you seen that Bo Bichette, who last week we did a swing mechanical breakdown series, swing breakdown on last week for those who haven't seen it or listened or watched. Have you seen this week? He was like 7 for like 15. His last 15.
Not surprising. We do that to people, don't we?
Not too bad.
Not too bad.
So you got India and Kalenic here as your two guys. They're your top two. Kalenic's they were talking about his stance on Friday night, how he rocks. He likes to rock a little bit.
We've
talked about that before on this show. I guess the stance doesn't really matter much. But.
No, I just remember it because he's a cold weather guy, if I remember correctly.
He's from Wisconsin.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I was like, I can't believe this guy's from Wisconsin. And I just watched his swing. I'm like, I love this dude.
Yeah, good player.
I'm still trying to figure out how to pronounce his name.
Do we have anything else that we have to touch on with our first 100 plate appearances of the season?
Yeah, like don't suck. Right. You might not get any more than that. That's probably the best thing is, if you get, you're very fortunate if you get 100 at bats. And I guess the best advice I give any player, which I wish I probably would have learned this at an earlier age, was don't give away at bats. I used to get on the guys at Mizzou that year. You just gave away. You got 2 hits. You're 2 for 2. You're feeling good, and you just kind of go up there your third. But don't give away at bats.
Yeah,
like don't give away at bats for your own personal pride. Like you're gonna look back at your career and be like, I'm not gonna get that back.
Yeah,
I remember playing amateur. I played on 2 scout teams growing up in high school, and I remember thinking, God, I really don't want to go play today. Like I just played on Tuesday. I played on Thursday. Now I'm going to play a doubleheader Saturday and a doubleheader Sunday. Like I'm really done. But those at bats I got in those games were gold.
Yeah.
Like just gold for development. And I wish I would have had a better outlook on it and cherish them more. So don't ever give away at bats, whether it's your first 10 at bats or your first 100 at bats. it's a those they come up and they catch you. They get you in the butt when you give them away. You know, never be satisfied. You're 1 for 1. You want to go 2 for 2. Mm-hmm. You're 3 for 3. You're hungry. You want to get that 4th hit. Always have to be that way. You can't get in the box like, oh, I wonder what'll happen here. It's I'm going to make something happen here. And if you don't, and if you fail, great. That's what this game is all about.
Yeah.
But don't go in that box thinking that I already got a couple hits today. I don't, I'll find a barrel hole. No, you got to be sharp every time you get in the box.
Yeah. Well, that was some good stuff there at the end of the show. Very good. There's some quotes galore right there.
It wasn't bad. That wasn't
bad. Let's get to our listener question. This comes to us from Tom.
What about JD?
AD.
Oh.
I don't have his question up on my prep sheet. Next week, AD. I promise we'll get to your question next week. I'm not ignoring you, AD. I just keep forgetting because I don't check my Instagram as much as I should.
Facebook. People send me Facebook messages.
Yeah. Like you know what? We should do like an ep on a segment on the show, like an ep Facebook thing or something. Like all of them, it's like share some of the messages you get on Facebook.
Yeah, I don't even know how to retrieve them.
This comes to us from Tom in Indiana, sent to us via jimbopodcast21@gmail.com. Tom writes, "Hey Jim, I love watching the show when I get a chance on YouTube. Great work. My question is, how do I start preparing my 11-year-old son to play college baseball someday? He told me that is his goal, and I want to do everything in my power to help him. Thanks. Love the show." And that's from Tom from Indiana, sent to us via jimbopodcast21@gmail.com.
That's a good question. You know, I have a kid in that same, the same age roughly, and, watches. That's why we watch a lot of college softball, because she learns from it, more than the baseball games that are on TV. So, it's a fine line to push. It's a fine line. You got to let them go a little bit. Mm-hmm. For me, I see there's players that I work with that are 10, 11, 12 years old that work. They go in the garage 3 or 4 days a week and they hit off a tee. Mm-hmm. They'll throw into a net. They'll, work on agility drills. They'll work on, hand drills. There's a girl I know, you've probably seen her on she's all over the social media. She had like the best 7-year-old swing ever. I worked with her. They were one of the first online members, and I'm like, this girl's amazing. Anyway, her name's Audrey. But anyway, I digress. She's only 12 now, I think, or 11 or 10. I don't know how old she is. She's from Chino Hills, and she's like, there's no doubt in my mind she's going to play college sports. She'll probably play at Arizona or UCLA or something. Like, she gets after it every day. Mm-hmm. She does footwork drills. She does fielding drills. She does hitting drills. She does everything. And she's preparing for it. I can't make my kid do that. She doesn't, like, she'll be bored if I say, go do this. And so she's not ready yet. So you have to gauge it with your own kid. Are they ready? Do you have to say, hey, let's go do this? And I'll do that. I'll say, hey, you want to go hit? You want to go do that? Okay. And then she gets into it and we'll just prolong it. But other days I'm like, hey, you want to go hit? And she's like, she'll make up an excuse. I'm like, well, if I force her to go out there, it's going to be miserable. Right. So you have to find that line. And the best thing to do is have them love the game, enjoy what they're doing. Do they like to watch it on TV? That's probably step one. If they don't, it's like, well, they're not going to learn or have fun out there. But, it's really, for me, it's lock in a swing. Like, if you get a swing, then they'll be able to play when they're 14. And maybe they get, like, that's my hope with my kid, is that, she loves it right now, but I don't think the dedication is there because we haven't really played travel ball yet. And I don't want to until she's 14, but her swing can play at that level. So I built her swing from the ground up from a very young age without really any catastrophe, or any catastrophic moves. No real bat drag, no real wrist roll. She has rhythm. She strides. She can control the stride, that kind of stuff. So I know that if and when she decides, I want to get after this, she'll be able to offensively. Like, her barrel's going to run into the ball. And then we play catch, and we play hard catch, and we play games where you got to hit the person in the chest, and whoever wins, wins, those kind of things to keep it fun. So that's really, at that age, is make sure they love it. Yeah. And then give them whatever they want. If they want to go out and take ground balls, hit them ground balls. If they want to go out and hit. But if you tell them, hey, let's go take ground balls, and they give you a little, and then you take them anyway, it's going to be a miserable afternoon.
Yeah. All right. Well, great advice. I'm going to use that advice someday too.
With your dog?
I'm gonna create. By the way, speaking of my dog, we are like 3 days out from her like first birthday in human years.
It's a
First
big
birthday,
day.
big day. So in dog
Human
years,
years,
she's like, yeah. Well, I can't count dog years, nor do I want
like
to.
7, right? That's
I
what
think
they
she's
say, but
probably
it's
like
not.
she's probably like 8 or 9. I don't know. Dog years. I don't know. I don't care. It's
Oh,
1 year.
human years, 1 year, 1 year,
Right, right.
1 year.
1 year in
I
human.
got you. 1 year.
Dog years. She's probably
I
like,
was like, how many weeks you got going on here? Yeah.
yeah.
I
Speaking
got
of
a dog that's like 14,
yeah.
deaf, and she still jumps and runs and like will chase rabbits.
Mm-hmm.
There's no way she's is that 98 years old? No way.
Yeah, dog years. It's like Albert Pujols' age. You don't really know.
You don't know.
Yeah.
Like in the beginning, it's 7 years, but then they plateau.
Right. Next week we are discussing why you'd want to learn to switch hit. We're talking everything switch hitting.
Love it.
Yeah, I mean, because a lot of people out there want to switch hit. I wanted to be one of those people, but I couldn't hit from the left side. So why try to switch hit and hit from the right side? So a lot of people like to want to switch hit, and we're going to talk about why you do it, what's the point of doing it, everything switch hitting next week. And a couple of weeks we've got.
I know a little bit about this. This is a good topic.
You know a little bit
about this is a fun topic.
You know a little bit about switch hitting. Don't you know a little bit about hitting in general? Or
yeah, but I don't really appreciate the way you said you know a little bit about switch hitting. Like that was kind of uncalled for.
When did I say that?
You just said it. Like not that kind of switch hitter. Not that there's anything wrong with that kind of switch hitter, but yes, hitting from the opposite side. That's what we'll talk about.
Did I say you know a little bit about it?
Yeah, it's all right. We can discuss off there.
Oh, geez. I'm sorry. Maybe we should ask the intern. What,
she probably knows. That's the sad part.
You know a lot about switch hitting. Sorry.
No, I know. Not anymore. No, we're just changing the subject.
Okay.
But yes. Players that hit left-handed and right-handed.
Right.
That's what we're going to talk about.
Right.
Yes.
I didn't. I'm gonna when I produce this show this week, I'm gonna rewind back and see if I said you know a little bit about switch hitting.
Yeah.
I don't think I did. I think you're hearing things.
It's about minute. I don't know. It was probably minute 61.
Do you have any summer camps are coming up at the lab BCS?
You bet they are.
Yeah. What's going on at the lab BCS?
Got one in some guys in Denver. I got to train too. All of a sudden, I get back to Denver and everyone's peppering me. Hey, can we get do? So it's like I got to figure out how to get 8 guys in at once that I haven't seen in a while. Shout out to Quinn Lowe, threw a no-hitter yesterday and hit 2 jacks for his high school team, Chatfield, against the number 4 team in the state. That's a pretty good game. A no-hitter and 2 jacks.
Mm-hmm.
That's a day, and the scouts were there to watch him.
Oh,
he's going to Santa Clara.
Is he going to get drafted? You think?
I don't know. He might now. Look out, world. What were we talking about? Oh, the lab. Yeah, we got all kinds of camps. 7 to 12-year-old camps. We have 2 sessions posted Monday through Thursday. Super fun. You get a T-shirt. Why not? Plus, but if you're a good kid and you're a leader and you perform, you get a new lid too at the end of the day, possibly.
You have one behind you. Over your left shoulder.
We have new ones being made. I mean, just be a good camper.
I got a lid.
You got a lid too. You were a great camper.
I was.
Yeah. and then we'll have we're scheduling a pitcher catcher camp, and then some older kids too, middle school.
Alrighty. Very good.
Excited. Heading down there in a couple days.
Sounds exciting. Well, that does it for us here on this week's episode of the Lab Epstein Hitting Podcast. I got to take a piss. I'm sure you got to do something, and we'll talk to you next week, everybody. See you later.
Bye now.
Bye-bye.